Impressive.
That means I get to say
Look,
standing on our.
look at this. Look at this gavel.
Your first gavel ever.
It is my first gavel.
That is really cool.
All right, let's see here.
I don't remember Bob's getting one like that. I don't remember Bob's getting a box.
Well, Bob's got hair.
Right, okay.
You have to choose. It is now 10 o'clock, and we are going to do our dead level best to stay on time. So with that, I will call us to order with this very cool new gavel that Cynthia has provided.
This is what happens when appellate judges get gavels. Lots of novelty.
Just a few housekeeping reminders. Please speak into the microphones and be reminded they are extremely sensitive. Even if you think you are whispering, you might not be. You may access meeting materials at the link printed at the top of the agenda. Limited materials are provided at your seats. And if you're a guest at the meeting, please be sure to sign in or RSVP by email to rsvp@georgiacourts.gov so we have a record of your attendance for the minutes. This meeting is being recorded, audio and visual. It is being live streamed, and it's open to the press and the public, and the recording and the live streaming is another point on the sensitivity of the microphones. And during voting items, as a reminder, we will call for opposition only. And with that, we have a few members who were unable to attend, and so we have their designees. Chief Judge Craig Ernest from the 2nd Judicial Administrative District. His designee is Judge Henry Balcom. Judge, hey, thank you for being with us. Judge Scott Chastain, his designee is Judge Josh Suggs. Thank you, Judge. Chief Judge Sean Rhodes, his designee is Chief Judge Scott Lewis.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Judge. And Judge Thomas Wilson.
For Emery Palmer.
Judge Emery Palmer, yes. Thank you for being here. Appreciate our designees for ensuring that your councils or districts are fully represented, and we appreciate the time that you're giving us today. And with that, we have a number of new members to administer the council oath to. And so, do we have people stand, or do we just
Yes, they
raise? Okay,
stand.
if you would stand and raise your right hand. Vice Chief Judge Elizabeth Gobeil, Chief Judge Jason Deal, Chief Judge Jack Niedrek, Judge Dustin Hightower, Judge Susan Edline, Judge McCracken Poston, Judge Patty Walters Lane, Chief Judge Scott Lewis, Chief Judge Norman Quadra, and Mr. Christopher Twyman of the State Bar of Georgia. If you would repeat after me. I do swear or affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent on me as a member of the Judicial Council of Georgia, according to the best of my ability and understanding, and that as a member of the Judicial Council, I will endeavor to improve the administration of justice in this state for the benefit of the public as well as the bench and the bar. That I will strive to improve the judicial system of this state as a whole as well as in its parts. And that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Georgia. So help me God. Well, thank you, congratulations, and welcome. We're delighted to have you join us. With that, Ms. Clanton, I have a special guest to recognize. Commissioner Frank O'Connell. Where are you, Commissioner? Judge designee to the new tax court, and will be joining us on Judicial Council as well. So we are delighted to have you, and please, whatever we can do to assist as your court comes online, let us know.
Thank you so much, Justice Peterson.
Thanks for being here. All right, roll call.
Ready. Good morning, everybody. Presiding Justice Sarah Warren, Chief Judge Trent Brown, Vice Chief Gobeal, Judge Bill Hamrick, Judge Burt Guy.
Here.
Judge Dustin Hightower,
Here.
Judge Dave Stewart,
Here.
Judge Henry Malcolm,
Here.
Judge Maureen Gottfried,
Here.
Chief Judge Shondina Cruz Morris,
Here.
Chief Judge Ural Glanville,
Here.
Judge Emery Palmer,
Here.
Chief Judge John Niedrick,
Here.
Chief Judge Christopher Hughes,
Here.
Chief Judge Jason Deal,
Here.
Chief Judge Cheryl Jolly,
Here.
Chief Judge Gregory Sapp,
Here.
Judge Susan Edline,
Here.
Chief Judge Michelle Harrison,
Here.
Judge McCracken Poston,
Here.
Judge Josh Suggs,
Here.
Judge Patty Walters Lane.
Here.
Chief Judge Nathan Gratham,
Here.
Chief Judge Scott Lewis,
Here.
Chief Judge Robert Cowan,
Here.
Chief Judge Norman Codra,
Here.
and Chris Twyman, the bar president.
Here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Very good. And now, if Vice Chief Judge Elizabeth Gobeal would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. My first duty. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll now move on to the approval of the minutes, which are in your materials. Is there anyone who has any amendments to the minutes? Seeing none, is there any opposition to the adoption of the minutes as written? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. We will now move to Judicial Council Committee reports, and we will begin with the Legislation Committee and Presiding Justice Sarah Hawkins Warren.
Thank you, Chief. We have a written report that's provided in your materials, but we'll also just give a little summary of the meeting that we had on August 12th that many of you joined. We began preparing for the 2026 session of the General Assembly. We've talked about this before, and the Chief has talked about this before, but the Judicial Council plans to focus on existing legislative initiatives and then to focus on a little bit of cleanup for some of the judicial security legislation that was passed last year. We had status reports from the councils of the probate and municipal court judges on their existing legislation, and then the committee voted on its standard request for authority to act on the council's behalf. And as many of you have seen and know, that motion says that the committee requests approval to make decisions or take positions on legislation and related policy issues on behalf of the Judicial Council during the 2026 legislative session when time constraints prevent the convening of the full Judicial Council. Our committee plans to meet again on November 18th. We're working on judicial security cleanup and expect to discuss that then. I was just talking to Tracy about that before the meeting. And we ask everyone to share information and legislative initiatives through the committee, even if it only affects your class of court, so that we can speak with one voice and coordinate throughout the judicial branch. So as always, please reach out to me or to Tracy if you have any questions, if you have feedback or other thoughts that you want to share. Thanks so much.
And so the one action item we have from that, which does not require a motion because it comes from a committee, is the annual authority to act, where we delegate to the committee the authority to act in lieu of the Judicial Council during the session if there's not time to convene us all. Is there any objection to the authority to act? Seeing none, that will stand approved. Thank you, Presiding Justice.
Thank you, Chief.
We will now move on to budget. Justice Charlie Bethel.
Thank you, Chief, and members of the council. Pleasure to be with you this morning. I have a report from the Budget Committee, and there are typically two action items, and this will be the rule this year as well. I also want to extend my welcome to Commissioner O'Connell and note for everyone that the tax court has been administratively attached to the Judicial Council, so we will not be sort of presenting their budget, but ultimately, in terms of the state budget process, it is attached to us. And so Andrew Zoll, who does a fantastic job for us, will do likewise for the new court. And just want you to know that we don't bring those matters through this court, but they are, sort of from a legal standpoint, part of the court. So, Chief, the requests you have are in your circulated materials. I will roll through them and get to the point, and obviously if the members have questions, I'll do my best to answer them or call up somebody who knows more. The first two are actually both from the Georgia Office of Dispute Resolution. They are both items that this council approved for request last year, were not funded by the legislature. One is to provide sort of stable funding for the Schedule ADR service, technology service that the Office of Dispute Resolution uses to schedule, literally to manage the scheduling of ADR. And then the second is for a program coordinator position in the Georgia Office of Dispute Resolution. And again, those are carry forward from last year. The next item is $63,228. It's a request from the Institute for Continuing Judicial Education. This is a singular additional position. The salary for that position would be $43,397. And this is to support the business operations function at ICJE. There is a singular position that manages all of the finance and business operations there, and this would allow for support for that. We've tried various different solutions to that need in the past, interns from the university and otherwise, and we've reached a point from a load standpoint seeking an additional position. The next and the biggest ticket item in what we'll present is the Judicial Council Administrative Office of the Courts, $586,649. This is the stand-up team, as it were, and that's my words, that's my language, for the case management system that is being built. I guess over 130 full-time people are building this thing, but once it's built, there's going to be a requirement to operate it. And so this would contemplate 8 positions. I can walk you through the positions if people have need, but these are positions basically meant to operate the system and make sure that it is functioning and continues to function successfully. The next item is also a Judicial Council request. We have an ongoing program with medical legal partnerships. The original vision for that was $619,000. The legislature has progressively funded positions in that, and this $209,500 request would be the final request in the initial phase of our work, and this is a partnership with Atlanta Legal Aid and Georgia Legal Services that allows us to embed lawyers in healthcare facilities to provide indigent care. We have good ROI for the state and have received good support from the state in the past. The last item on the budget is the request from the Georgia Resource Center. There's a $125,000 request. And it is meant to basically offset reductions in funding that the Resource Center has been experiencing over several years from multiple sources. And this is just funding an individual attorney position. It would not be an additive position for them. It would just help them maintain the staffing that they currently have. I will note that we also have a request. The legislature last year gave the Judicial Council a mid-year grant, and so we have requested a $100,000 annualization of a grant they gave in recruitment and retention initiatives last year. So all of that is to say, and I think you have it in your materials, the total of we're asking for a flat budget for 26 for the amended 26 budget. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. So I'm talking about 27. The total of the enhancements is $1,188,088. That would increase the Judicial Council's budget to $27,450,629 and would represent a 4.52% increase in the Judicial Council's overall budget. And so the motions requested by the committee, Chief, are the Standing Committee on Budget would request approval to submit a flat amended 26 budget in the amount of $26,262,541 and a fiscal year 27 enhancement request of $1,188,088 in addition to a $100,000 annualization of recruitment and retention initiatives for a total of $27,550,629.
Thank you, Justice Bethel. And just to clarify, this is a motion for the maximum authorized request, subject to adjustment based
yeah.
on budget instructions and other considerations, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are there any questions about any of those items? All right. Is there any objection to the adoption of both the FY26 request and the FY27 request authorization? Seeing none, those are approved. Coming to the next action item.
And consistent with your question, Chief, this is a motion that we regularly make, is basically what we call the authority to act piece. And so the Standing Committee on Budget requests the approval to make decisions or take positions on budgetary issues on behalf of the Judicial Council during the 2026 legislative session when time constraints prevent the convening of the Judicial Council. And this request is meant to include any special session of the General Assembly that might happen during the balance of the calendar year, which certainly seems unlikely at this point, but belt and suspenders.
From your lips to God's ears. All right. Is there any discussion on the authority to act? Any objection? That also is adopted. Thank you for the committee's work on this. I know that when we are in a space where the governor's budget instructions are to submit flat budgets, it's always hard to make decisions between many valuable and deserving projects. But thank y'all for the hard work of winnowing this down.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, moving on. We have a report from Justice Andrew Pinson on the conclusion of the ad hoc Artificial Intelligence and the Courts Committee. So Justice Pinson.
Thanks so much, Chief. This is an informational item. As all of you know, the former Chief Justice Boggs issued an order in August of last year establishing this ad hoc committee on artificial intelligence and the courts. We worked with the assistance of the National Center for State Courts over the past quite a few months engaging on this topic. The former chief asked me to chair the committee along with Judge Kelly. We had a fantastic committee who looked at this issue. And the focus was really two big buckets of issues. One, what are the risks that we face as a judicial system in terms of AI? And what are the potential benefits and ways that we can implement it to help us in lots of different ways? The committee's work findings and recommendations are detailed in our final report, which was finalized at the end of June, is linked at tab 5 in the electronic copy of your materials. Just a handful of quick highlights. I won't go through the full report, but three pieces I wanted to highlight. One, the committee's foremost recommendation is that we need to keep looking at this issue, to have an ongoing committee in some form, because it's really early days with respect to this technology and other similar emerging technologies, and having alongside that some technical expertise and support to help us, whether we need to give top-down guidance going forward, whether we need to be on the lookout for particular risks as they arise. Second, and this goes for a lot of the recommendations in the report, much of it is tentative because we don't know what we don't know, and there's a lot more to do on this, but we've made some initial sort of recommendations in terms of education and ideas for the risks side of AI, including what to do about hallucinations, its impact on trial evidence. Most of that has to do at this point with education, and then perhaps some ideas for how we can better authenticate those kinds of evidentiary sort of pieces when they come to trial courts. And then third, we've provided in the report just some initial tentative guidance on AI tools that are already out there that courts may be looking at and wondering, is this something that's useful? Is this something that's that carries risks of security, confidentiality concerns. You'll see those in the report as well. The overarching view is for now, we want to be very careful in terms of privacy and confidentiality, because many of these tools are not careful with respect to those things, and so we want to temper our expectations for now with that. That's the basics of what we've outlined in the report. I'm happy to take any questions, but otherwise appreciate the Judicial Council's role in this, and looking forward to how we can face these challenges and hopefully take advantage of the benefits of this technology going forward.
Thank you, Justice Pinson. Are there any questions for Justice Pinson? It is okay to have questions. Let me just make a couple of observations, both about process and going forward. This committee, and I really am grateful to Justice Pinson for his leadership, for Judge Kelly and his leadership, and just the hard work of so many people doing this review over the last year. This was really half of the project of looking at AI that we set up last year. The other half was at the State Bar. And then President Ivy Cadle appointed a committee led by former Bar President Darrell Sutton to look at the practice of law side of AI implications. And at the annual meeting, Darrell gave his report, and while there was a recommendation made around a couple of potential adjustments to the rules of professional conduct, the principal recommendation that committee had was the same principal recommendation as Justice Pinson's committee, which was we need to continue having a committee looking at the issue because it is such a evolving issue. And I'm grateful to President Twyman for immediately latching on to that and essentially reappointing the committee with Darrell continuing to lead it. So thank you for your focus on that. There really are some critical challenges that we are going to have to grapple with in this space. Authentication of evidence. Just the words that have already been spoken by everyone in this meeting. If you have the recording that is available online of this meeting, you can make audio clips of any of us saying whatever you want, which really does raise some serious questions about what do we do when you're trying to introduce a recording as evidence in a judicial proceeding. The short version of these committees is we don't really have answers to those yet, but we're hopeful that at some point we will, hence the continued look. So thank you very much, Justice Pinson. Anything further you have at this point?
No, thank you.
All right. With that, let me call on Justice Ben Land to come speak to us about the Court Reporting Matters Committee.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Good morning, everybody. I am the chair of the Court Reporting Matters Committee. My primary focus, as I think you all know, was to get a digital takedown bill passed. That bill passed with significant help from the AOC, people in this room, a lot of people working on it. That passed the last legislative session unanimously by the House and the Senate, got signed by the governor. So we do have a digital takedown bill that is the law of the state of Georgia. I believe it's effective January. That bill gives judges the option to take down certain court proceedings with digital recording equipment rather than a court reporter, subject to the discretion of the judge and subject to rules to be approved by the Supreme Court for the uniform rules of court. So the next step of the committee is to get the rules adopted and approved. We are working on that. I've been working with the AOC lawyer, Kerry Scott, on a draft of rules. We intend to circulate those and get our committee to come up with a draft of those, have those submitted to the Superior Court Judges Council soon, and hopefully get them approved by the various classes of court and ultimately the Supreme Court. So that's what we're doing with that. This was a much needed item. I heard from judges all over the state how badly they wanted this option. I also heard from some judges who were not that interested in it, and I assured them, and I will repeat again every time I talk about this, this is an option for judges to use. It's not a mandate. So for you judges, particularly our state court judges who really want this will be available to you very soon. The only action item I have today is to ask for the council's approval of membership appointments to the Board of Court Reporting. One of the functions of our committee is to recommend membership appointments to the Board of Court Reporting itself. There are 4 seats that we are recommending appointments to. 2 of them are reappointments, 2 of them are new appointments. We're recommending a state court judge seat, a state bar representative seat, and 2 court reporters to serve on the Board of Court Reporting. The first recommendation is Judge Vi Bennett, who most of you know, a state court judge in Wayne County since 2012. She is the current chair of the Board of Court Reporting. She wants to continue, and we're recommending that she be reappointed to serve on the Board of Court Reporting. The next one for the state bar representative would be Tina Shaddix Roddenberry, who I think most all of you know as well. She's a family law attorney here in Atlanta, has been practicing law for over 30 years. She's with the Boyd Collar firm. She's been involved in everything. She's been the chair of the family law section of the state bar. She's been on the Board of Governors for years. She's a former YLD president. She's currently on the Board of Court Reporting and wants to continue serving as a state bar representative to the board. We recommend her reappointment. The 2 court reporters that we're recommending for appointment to the board are Vicki Wiechek, who's been a court reporter for over 25 years. She is a freelance and official court reporter in the Dublin Judicial Circuit, where she's served for 12 years. She's past president of the Georgia Certified Court Reporters Association. She would like to serve on the Board of Court Reporting. We recommend her appointment. Lisa Singley has been a court reporter for nearly 35 years. For 17 years, she was the owner of Verbatim Reporters, who many of you lawyers are familiar with, who take depositions around the state. She has been an official court reporter in the Okmulgee Circuit for Judge Brenda Trammell, and she is currently an official reporter for Judge George Hutchinson in Gwinnett County. We recommend her appointment to the Board of Court Reporting. So we recommend those 4.
Thank you, Justice Land. Are there any questions about any of those appointments? Seeing no questions, is there any objection to any of those appointees? Seeing none, they're all approved. I would like to say thank you for your work and the work of your committee and the work of all of the stakeholders on the legislation. We talked a little bit about this at the last meeting, but that was not an easy thing to accomplish. There were a lot of different people with a lot of different perspectives, and y'all did a great job of bringing them together and winding up with what I think will be a really good product to free up court reporters for the critical proceedings that we really need them in physically.
I'm indebted to Mandy Mercier for giving me the opportunity. I know she's not here, but y'all pass on my word of gratitude to Mandy. And I had a great team, particularly these ladies here
100%.
with the AOC, and judges all over the state came out and supported it. It would not have passed without the support of those folks. Thank you.
I also want to thank Judge Trent Brown for allowing Justice Land to continue in the position, at least until we get the rules done. The chair position is designated as for a Court of Appeals judge, but it's important to nail those rules down, and appreciate Judge Land's
I've agreed to see it
leadership.
through to the rules get approved.
I was happy to do it.
And you can take it over or give it to somebody else. I've enjoyed the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. All right, coming to Judicial Security and Justice Sean Ellen LaGrua.
Good morning, Chief, Presiding Justice, everyone else. Glad to see everybody this morning. Happy to report on this committee that I'm honored to serve and chair with Judge Brian Rickman as co-chair. This committee was appointed a little over 2 years ago on February 2nd by then Chief Justice Boggs and Presiding Justice Peterson to take a look at judicial security throughout the state. We have been hard at work since, both with our original panel of experts to take a look at things, and since then with the JSEP committee. For any of you that are new, the JSEC committee is comprised of members, as the Judicial Council is, of a member of every class of court, as well as a number of advisory members from other agencies that deal with security or information about judges throughout the state. We met, the JSEC committee most recently met the last week in June of this year. We usually meet right before this meeting. We moved that back this year to coincide with the meeting just prior to the release of the statute, S. Bill 199, on private information, protected identity information. I'll get to that in just a minute. I wanted to give you a teeny bit of background about what's going on in the realm of judicial and legal security right now. According to the U.S. Marshal Service, there was an increase of 344% of threats on federal judges over the last half decade. That gives you an idea of how things are progressing, and unfortunately not in a good way. Inappropriate communications and physical attacks, with 1,000 incidents only in 2015 and over 4,500 in 2021. That gives you a concept of how things are progressing.
And Justice, if I can interject.
Please.
That's the federal number. You all know at a state level, you're seeing at least the same thing. The difference is the marshals track those numbers. We don't even track them historically. And so that's just the best data that we have to go on. The work of Justice LaGrua and Judge Rickman and the committee to try and develop some tracking is enormously valuable. So
I'm going to touch on that in a moment briefly, Chief. We are not at the level of the Marshal Service at this point, so I am confident in what data we have. I am not confident in the amount of data we have received, and I'll talk about that in a moment. The U.S. Marshal Service in 2024 investigated almost 1,000 threats and potential threats. Wisconsin reported 142 threats against their state judges. Maricopa County, Arizona had over 400 threats aimed at their judges, staff, and courts from 20 to 23. And the Wisconsin Supreme Court has been tracking things as well. So that you are aware, South Dakota, Missouri, Virginia, California, and Florida, at the very least, from what we can tell from our research at this point, have specific processes in place for judicial security at the statewide level. We are currently working on that. As I said, on July 1st of this year, House Bill 199 went into effect, which protects personal identifiable information of judges. For those of you who are not aware of the process, you can go to the AOC website. There is a dedicated link. You go to that link and you get a form. That form is sent to your counsel of court. However, your counsel has set that up so that you can request that your personally identifiable information, so that's your name, your address, your home address, your phone number, and your spouse's home address, phone number, can be redacted from government publicly available websites. And I want to emphasize that I said government available public websites, and I'm going to come back to that in just a minute because we've had some questions about that. Once you fill out that form, you have to get the chief judge of the court that you serve on to verify that you or your spouse or former judge and former spouse are actually a judge of that circuit, location, municipality. And then it is the responsibility of the judge to provide that to the agency that you want to redact your personal identifiable information. We did have a question fairly early on, and if I get too much in the weeds, Chief, please let me know. But we had a question early on whether a chief judge can just sign a group order of the judges that they supervise, serve. I don't guess they really supervise, but a group order. I have suggested that that not happen, and I'd like to explain why. If a judge signs a group order, and I'll use Justice John Ellington, and he knows I do. Justice Ellington has a hunting and a fishing license. I don't. So if Chief Justice Peterson signs an order listing all of the Supreme Court justices, and that form goes to the Department of Natural Resources, it can cause confusion on whose information is being requested to be restricted. There aren't that many judges per chief judge, and it's a form letter. There's also a form attached to the documents that have been sent to the council for the verification. But that's the reason we're suggesting that a chief not just list all the judges on one particular form. So it is your responsibility to go to whatever agency, be it the tax assessor's office, driver services, Department of Natural Resources, the clerk's office, to have that information redacted. We had some questions when we spoke at the Council of Superior Court Judges this summer, and we are routinely trying to speak to the councils so that we can answer questions about whether you can use this form to get your pictures of your house off Zillow. The answer is no. This legislation is specifically authorizing government agencies in Georgia to restrict your information. With that said, I am not endorsing any private entity, but there are private entities that can make those similar requests to a Zillow, a Google, whatever online information you may want protected. But that is not the form from your council of court to use. And I don't know that they'd recognize it anyways, but that's not what the law says. We are lucky, as the chief said, most of the information I gave you is from the U.S. Marshal Service. We are one of the few states in the country to be lucky enough to have one of our JSEC committee members and Judicial Protective Services Director Stan Cooper is actually invited to many of the Marshals training, so we're a little bit ahead of some of our sister states in being up to date on that technology. In Georgia so far, we are tracking threats and asking you, and this is my yet again plea, that if there is a threat to a judge in your circuit, your municipality, and please let the word go out, because it's not, every time I speak, somebody comes up to me afterwards to tell me about a threat. I'm like, please put it in writing so we can track it. We cannot, and we're not this year, but we cannot look to anybody for resources if we don't have data. A third of the threats that have been received that we've been tracking at the state level are threats by letter. 2/3 are verbal, either in person or by phone, harassment or stalking. We are tracking these. We are tracking what they are. We are keeping up with the data the U.S. Marshal Service is tracking. So I guess my final plea is we will continue to do training. We've had 2 judicial symposiums addressing situational awareness and training. We will continue to work with the councils, the different councils, to continue to provide information and training. Please let me know 2 things, please, 2 please. If you have questions, concerns, or challenges with the PII, please let me know. We can, I got word on one this morning, we can't try and address them if we don't know there's a problem. And for instance, clerks just can't get rid of everything that identifies you. This is to restrict, not hide. If, unfortunately for judges in Georgia, you have to run. Do not use your personal email for your campaign because you cannot then restrict that. So those are the kinds of things, but please let me know about the problems that you're having with the PII. And please, if you hear threats, you know of threats, please get them reported to us so that we can track them. And I'm open to any questions, Chief.
Are there questions for Justice LaGrua on any of those items she touched on? Well, I want to thank you for your leadership and Judge Rickman for his leadership of this committee. It is such a critical thing for us to be focusing on, as really the threat environment in the judicial space has changed materially over the last few years. To the point about private resources, private entities that will, for a fee, work to remove your personally identifying information from non-governmental sources. During the presiding justice and my meetings with the leadership of each class of court, we talked about that with your council leadership, and we provided some details on the actual product that we use. But again, judges can't endorse products, and I'm certainly not going to do that in a public meeting. But if you have any questions about that, you can talk to me, you can talk to Cynthia, you can talk to Justice LaGrua or your council leadership, because we provided all of that information there. And in some cases, that is something where public dollars can in fact fund some element of that. I'll also just observe that it appears that Justice LaGrua's hunting and fishing is unlicensed. So
You don't want me to go down the furry animal trail, Chief.
all right, thank you very much.
Chief, if I could.
Of course.
I neglected to mention Robbie Lee and the AOC.
Yes.
Because the work they've put into getting these forms available to the website and to the councils of court has been extraordinary, and we couldn't get it done without them. So I just wanted to say a public thank you.
So I wholeheartedly endorse that. Thank you to Robbie and to AOC and to Tracy and Abigail and their legislative team on the legislative side of the PII bill, and the work that I know will be upcoming in this session as well. Really, there's no committee report that shouldn't end with a thank you to the good work that AOC does in supporting all of our committees. But that is a special thank you, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, moving on to the Technology Committee, I will let Justice LaGrua sit down and call Judge Kelly to come up. Oh, fire up.
Take her up on that, Mr. Chief Justice. Thank you, Mr. Chief Justice. It's my pleasure to give the report of the Technology Committee. One correction, it says we met in July of 2024. In the body, it corrects that as in July of 2025. We meet about every other month. We heard, and I hope everybody in having the honor to serve as a vice chair of the AI Committee, I hope everybody takes the opportunity to look at that report. And especially if you don't know a lot about AI, it's 76 pages, but there's a lot of pictures and graphs. And National Center for State Courts in helping us and AOC in formatting that. It does have a lot of information. It's a good primer on all the different issues that we're facing out there. And I'll just tell you this, at least in the world of technology, while there's a lot of dangers out there, I feel like there's more good than bad. And so, we got to deal with both, and that's what the committee does. And Technology Committee is focused not only just on looking at AI stuff, but all types of advanced technologies, all types of training and education. And on our report, I won't go through it. We took this last meeting, we got updates from the AOC on all the different projects that they're doing, and it's a lot. I mean, if you can imagine, with all the hundreds of courts that we have around the state, the training and education, updates, support that they provide is amazing. We took a report from the data collection, AI again, and then CMS project, which you'll hear from later on today. I hope the goal of the technology, we spent a little bit of time looking at the future and, of course, and other advanced technologies, and we're going to be working on, I think, a little more this next year on education and training opportunities and consolidating. I'd like to see, I've talked with AOC and Ben a little bit about this, a little more of maybe a unified place on the new gateway portal they've done, which is fabulous. Maybe have a little more dedicated space there so that members of the judicial branch can go and get information when they need it. That's my report.
Thank you, Judge. And the one piece of the AI Committee's recommendation that really is a let's do now kind of recommendation is having a continuing body that continues to review AI issues. And Justice Pinson and I spoke with Judge Kelly during the Council of Superior Court Judges Conference about how best to set that up. And what we're looking at right now is making that a standing subcommittee of the Technology Committee. We haven't done that yet, but that is sort of an ongoing discussion, and that is the direction we're anticipating going in. Is there anything you want to say to that?
I'll just say, Yeah, a couple things is, we have gotten the attention of a lot of other states. The National Center for State Courts is featuring the Georgia, our Georgia project at the Court Technology Conference in Kansas City, Missouri, coming up here in September. I have the honor to go there and help present that to a panel. So excited about that and the recognition we're getting there. Also, Georgia Tech has taken a great interest. They have a whole professor over there who's kind of specializes in judiciary, and she looks at it more on a worldwide level and nationwide level, and so, but she's willing to work with us. So there's a lot of exciting things happening, and I think that'll be a good report in December.
That's terrific, and thank you for representing us well on this.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the ARPA Funding Committee. Judge Mercier is not able to be here, and so I will kick it off, but mostly pitch it to Tracy Mason to present. Why don't you go ahead, and then I'll just have a couple of remarks to make on it at the end. There is one piece that we are potentially adding as possible ARPA funding that I think is really important and a great opportunity. So.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Chief. Good morning, everyone. And I am delivering this report on behalf of our committee chair, Judge Mercier. This fall marks 4 years since Governor Kemp allocated $96 million in ARPA funds to the judicial branch and the creation of the ARPA committee and the grant program for the purpose of addressing backlogs of court cases, prioritizing cases involving serious violent felonies. As a recap, during the first year of the program, calendar year 2022, $15.5 million was spent, and as of last Friday, August 22nd, over $54 million has been reimbursed for the calendar year 23 to 25 performance period. We are winding down that current award, which expires December 31st, and preparing for the final year of the program. We announced yesterday, we distributed information yesterday that the committee will accept applications beginning next week from September 1st through September 19th. That is extended an extra week over what was previously published. So we will be having a 3-week application window in September for calendar year 2026. We are accepting 2 types of applications during this cycle. First will be applications to amend the current 2023 to 2025 awards in accordance with the committee's award amendments policy, but not including any additional funding. So as we wrap up this year, if there are circuits that would like to amend their awards, as we look at closing out this grant, we will accept those applications. And this will be the final opportunity to amend those awards. We will also be accepting applications for calendar year 2026 for the performance period of January 1st through September 30th. And this may be the only opportunity to apply for an award in calendar year 26. The federal ARPA program is ending December 31st, 2026. So it's important to stress that and remind everyone of that. And all funds awarded for 2026 must be spent by that September 30th deadline. And in order to allow AOC ARPA staff time for necessary closeout and to comply with those deadlines, reimbursements, all invoices for reimbursements must be submitted by October 15th, 2026. So as we work to meet that deadline. Chief, I can mention briefly, on behalf of the committee, we are currently seeking guidance and approval from the Office of Planning and Budget to include the cost of pretrial psychological assessments when required by law or court order and performed by a contractor as an ARPA eligible expenditure for 2026. Final details and approval by OPB and the committee are pending, and additional information will be provided as soon as it becomes available. I want to say thank you to TJ Bement for all your work. I know you're over there somewhere. For all your work on this important issue and your partnership throughout the program as the District Court Administrator representative on the committee, and to all of the DCAs. The committee is scheduled to meet on November 7th to consider the applications that we receive next month and make the award decisions. As always, all awards are subject to the availability of funds, and an application for new funds does not guarantee an award. Just to wrap up, in accordance with the committee's use of award funds policy, we continue to work with circuits to assess the current awards and projected spending in line with the defined benchmarks. That final benchmark of 75% is set for September 30th, so we are beginning to proactively reach out, and we appreciate the circuits for working with us on this very cooperative process. And again, the ARPA program will close out December 31st, 2026. We look forward to meeting on November 7th. On behalf of my ARPA team colleagues, again, we really appreciate the committee's work. Most of the members are at the table today, and our court administrator colleagues and everyone in the circuits.
Thank you, Tracy. And the one piece I want to speak to briefly is the new possibility, potentially, to use the remaining funds for pretrial psychological evaluations. You all know what an enormous challenge it is right now with the very limited resources that our state agencies have in this space and the delays that creates in the process. Judge Leonard texts me every now and then when he gets a new letter from DBHDD with the, I think the last wait was up to 408 days. 408 days. And so anything we can do to try to bring resources to move evaluations and treatment more quickly is improving the justice system in a enormously and severely needed way. I want to emphasize that this has not yet been authorized. It is in progress, and ordinarily I would not have announced anything about something that hasn't yet been authorized. And I don't want this to come off as any criticism of OPB or anyone else if it winds up not being authorized. But because we have such a limited time frame left and the application deadlines are going to be really tight, I wanted you all to be in a position to be thinking about whether this is something that might make sense for your circuit to look at. And if it's not authorized, then no harm, no foul. But if it is, that at least puts you all in a position to be thinking ahead and be ready when that opens. So, any questions on any of that? All right. Well, thank you very much, Tracy. All right. I am now going to ask Judge Leonard to come up and present the results of the Judicial Workload Assessment Committee.
If I can take 1 second to touch on what you just spoke,
Please.
I will tell you, if that does get approved, all the Superior Court judges in the room know that probably your oldest cases are all DBHDD related cases. And when I was chief in our circuit, when we had a little extra money, county money, we did use it to do private evaluations, and you will see results from that if that gets approved. And so that's a great idea. I hope I hope you're successful on that. That's going to be great for the state of Georgia to help move those cases that sometimes languish through no fault of
Really no fault of
those. Yes.
No fault of those people, and it's
Yes.
no fault of anyone who's actually doing the work. It's just there's limited resources.
But there are plenty of evaluators that'll do it. A lot of them are former DBHD employees, and I was getting evaluation turned around in 5 days, 10 days. So it's remarkable. So I hope you'll take advantage of that if it gets approved. All right, so from JWAC, we've got 2 action items today. Good morning, everybody. Chief and presiding justices, members of the Judicial Council, my privilege to appear before you. We got 2 action items today that come from the committee that I don't think need a second. We're going to run through the slides in a minute, and I'll let Stephanie do that. But one of those will be to accept 2 new judgeship recommendations from 2 newly qualifying circuits, and then also to amend reanalyzed numbers from 2 circuits that submitted a request to have their numbers reanalyzed, which you can do under the policy. If you do request that, the chief judges, if you do request that, if your numbers go up or down, you're stuck with them. It does not extend your number of years for which you qualify, but we have 2 of those this time. So 7 new judgeship requests, really 7 new circuits, or 7 circuits total qualify. I'm going to let Stephanie run through the slides with you all. If we have any questions at the end, feel free to ask.
Good morning, Chief Justice, members of Judicial Council, and guests. My name is Stephanie Hines. I'm Division Director at AOC, and today I would like to present to you the 2025 judgeship requests based on the 2024 workload assessments. Next slide, please. Before you are the new 2025 judgeship requests from Atlanta Judicial Circuit and the Middle Judicial Circuit. Next slide, please. Atlanta Judicial Circuit is a single county circuit with an estimated population of 1,094,693. Judge Ural Glanville serves as the Chief Judge. According to our records, the circuit last received a judgeship in 2009 and currently has 20 judges. The circuit's workload value is 1.28, and the circuit seeks its 21st judgeship. Next slide, please. Next, we have the Middle Judicial Circuit, which consists of 5 counties: Candler, Emmanuel, Jefferson, Toombs, and Washington counties. The circuit's population is approximately 96,381. Judge Robert Bobby Reeves is the Chief Judge. Based on our research, the circuit's last judgeship was in 1977. The circuit's workload value is 1.36, and the circuit requests a 3rd judgeship. Next slide. Appearing on this slide before you is a list of the 5 carryover circuits previously recommended by Judicial Council. They are DeKalb, formerly Stone Mountain Judicial Circuit, whose workload value is 1.25. They first qualified in 2023, and their term expires in 2026. Next, we have Gwinnett at 1.26. Qualified in 2024 with the expiration date of 2027. Northern with a 1.25 workload value, qualifying in 2023, expires in 2026. And then Northeastern at 1.22. They qualified in 2024, and their term of eligibility expires in 2027. And Tallapoosa, workload value 1.25, qualified in 2023, expires in 2026. Next slide. Before you and contingent upon Judicial Council's approval, this last slide represents all circuits recommended for a for a judgeship, and they appear in numerical order along with the judgeship's qualifying year. This slide, as Judge Leonard mentioned, also includes the updated workload analysis for Gwinnett and Northeastern, and you will see that their workload values changed. Northeastern is currently 1.35, and Gwinnett adjusted to 1.32. That concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Questions from the council? Thank you, Ms. Hines. Thank you, Judge Leonard. I know how much work it is to do the work of this committee every year, and we're just very grateful to you, Judge, and to you, Stephanie, and to the AOC team that does it. So there's 2 separate action items. The first action item, as I understand it, is the 2 new judgeship recommendations. The Judicial Council policy states that votes on judgeships shall be done by secret, written, or electronic ballot. The reason for that rule was that historically, we would then, once we have all the judgeships, we would then re-weight them based on presentations from the judges from the circuit and our own policy preferences. We changed that last year, and we decided really the value that we are adding for the benefit of the legislative branch and the governor is providing data and showing them what the data says about what circuits need new judges. Once we've provided the data, picking and choosing from among those courts is really not a judicial council function. It's a legislative function, along with the governor as the appointing authority and the signatory on legislation. And so the result of the judgeships that we approve are going to be reported simply in numerical order, with the highest workload number at the top and the lowest at the bottom. And any ties will just be put in alphabetical order, and that will be made clear in the submission to the legislature. But because we are not voting on re-ranking these judgeships, I think the time and expense of the secret written or electronic ballot is really unnecessary, and I would entertain a motion to dispense with that requirement today.
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Chief Judge Morris. Any objection to dispensing with that? All right, thank you. With that, is there any objection to the two new judgeship recommendations for the Atlanta at a workload value of 1.8 and the middle at a workload value of 1.36?
Atlanta's 1.28.
1.28. I'm sorry, did I say 1.8?
You did.
Sorry.
And they really need to
1.2.
judge there at 1.8.
1.28. Any objection? All right, those are approved. And then do we then vote on the full list as a whole?
The only other vote that, because you've already approved all
Yes.
the other circuits, the only other vote that needs to be taken is to adopt the reanalyzed numbers from
Right.
Northeastern and Gwinnett.
Okay. Is there any objection to adopting the reanalyzed numbers for those two circuits as presented? Seeing none, that is also adopted.
All right, thank you. That concludes.
And so these recommendations will be reported to the governor and the General Assembly. And again, listed solely by workload value, and tied circuits will be listed alphabetically and with no regard to the council's opinion of the strength or weakness of any of the recommendations. And that will be made clear. So if you're from the Tallapoosa circuit, do not feel bad that DeKalb is listed 2 slots above you. All right, thank y'all very much.
All right, thank you. And I would like to just end where you did a minute ago and just thank staff. Thank you, Director Clanton. Thank you for giving me great staff. The rest of them are down in South Georgia today, helping some circuits get better numbers to us, helping clerks and judges down in South Georgia. So it's just me and Stephanie. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, and speaking of the quality of data, you know, one of the complaints I hear periodically from judges about the judicial workload assessment process is, well, our data undersells the actual, cases that we have. The quality of the assessment is only as good as the quality of the data that we have, and that then leads into Judge Leonard remaining at the podium.
Oh, yes, yes.
To speak to us about the Case Management System Committee.
Yeah, all right, so it's a dream of mine to get this across the finish line. I'm excited about it. Thank you for allowing me to continue to serve as chair of this committee. The project is moving along. It is on schedule. It is on budget, and we're getting deliverables. I've seen proof of life already on it, and so that is good. I would tell you that there is, for anybody that's interested in this project or learning any more about it today, we have a meeting at 12:30. It's on Zoom. See, Ben, if you want the link, he'll give it to you. We're happy to have you pop on as a guest, but our next meeting is at noon. They are also hosting roundtables every Friday, and you can log on for those as well. Go to cms.georgiacourts.gov. That's the website. You can register there, pop on for the roundtable, ask some questions, get some information. Also, the previous sessions are recorded, so if you want to go back and watch the other ones, you can do that, and you can kind of get up to speed on the project. The deadline for the vendor to deliver a minimum viable project that meets the requirements of the RFP is December of this year, and they're telling me that they're going to meet that, and I believe them. We've got a great team. Again, Director Clanton, you staffed me up with a great team. The vendor's doing a great job. I want to mention Ben for a minute, if I can just. I'll embarrass him. This is going to really embarrass him. Okay, he's doing a great job on this. He is smart. And every time I call with a feature request or some, obscure question, like, he's already thought of it 9 times out of 10. And I had a judge reach out to me that I had put Ben in touch with, and she called and she said, not only was Ben super helpful and was able to answer every question that I had, but he also might be the nicest person that I've ever spoken with. And so, you know, keep doing a great job. You're a great leader on the project and a great person. So thank you for what you're doing. We've got great buy-in all across the state from all of our stakeholders. We would love a little bit more buy-in from the clerks of Superior Court. If there's judges in this room that you think, if you had a conversation with your clerk of Superior Court and they would meet with us and help participate in the project a little more, we would love to field that phone call, and we can even protect their identity if they request it. But we have gotten great buy-in from every acronym of every agency, you know, that I could rattle off up here. Ben could list them all off quickly, but all of the stakeholders are engaged, excited about the project, and so things are moving along quite nicely there. I'm happy to answer any questions if you all have any. And Ben, if I left anything out that you want me to hit, I'm happy to do it. Or you can hit it. Thank you. Okay. Any questions?
Any questions for Judge Leonard? All right. Thank you very
All right,
much
thank you.
for the work on that as well. With that, the last committee report is the Grants Committee. There's a written report provided in the materials, no action items, and I'll simply refer you to the written report on that. And that takes us to the report from Director Clanton.
I will jump up. Good morning, everybody. Justices, judges, and judicial branch leaders, my sincerest welcome to all the new Judicial Council members, a total of 10. In my director's report today, I'll highlight the ongoing work of the Judicial Council, its committees and projects, and the support from the 60 employees at the AOC. The AOC exists to serve you and the judiciary and all the work you do on and off the bench. First up, you heard Presiding Justice Warren recently led her first meeting as chair of the Judicial Council Committee on Legislation. That committee is already hard at work preparing for the 2026 legislative session. And speaking of legislation, the AOC has published its annual summary of an enacted legislation. Now, this is a convenient reference providing summaries of bills and resolutions pertinent to the Georgia judiciary passed during the 2025 legislative session. And it can be found on our website, www.georgiacourts.gov. Along with enacted legislation, there's often comes bill signing ceremonies, and we were pleased to attend several of these past spring. The report of the Judicial Council's AI Committee, as you heard, may be found on the Supreme Court of Georgia's website, and again, please take a look at it. We've included a link in your meeting materials online. My thanks to Justice Penson for his leadership, and AOC staffer Robbie Lee and the National Center for their support of this important committee's work. Former Court of Appeals Judge Ben Land was sworn in to serve the Supreme Court of Georgia on July 24th. Warmest congratulations, Justice Land. We look forward to continuing our work with you on the Court Reporting Matters Committee. To help with the vacancy created by Justice Land's departure, the judges of the Court of Appeals unanimously designated Senior Judge Andy Fuller to assist the court on a temporary basis again. Now, this is Judge Fuller's second time filling out on the Court of Appeals, and we certainly welcome him back. Congratulations to former Judicial Council Chair and Chief Justice David Namias, whose portrait was unveiled after a lighthearted ceremony in the Supreme Court of Georgia courtroom on August 7th. Now, I think in life, birthdays and anniversaries should always be celebrated. Congratulations to Judge Hamrick and his staff at the Georgia Statewide Business Court as they mark the court's 5th anniversary on August 1st. Where did the time go, Judge Hamrick? Just like that. Georgia's judicial system is comprised of over 1,080 courts. Each operates with varying levels of technology, incompatible systems, and limited means to share information. This fragmentation undermines public safety, delays justice, and creates incomplete criminal histories. Thanks to the support of the Governor's Office, OPB, and the Chief Justice, the AOC's IT team, led by Ben Luke, is creating a statewide court case management system that can serve all classes of court by increasing consistency, efficiency, and thereby streamlining the administration of justice. As Judge Leonard said, please work with our office. The stakeholders across the state make this project happen. Again, you can sign up for the roundtables via our website and watch past recordings there. And I think there was a session on state court judges and their system last week. Your AOC staff presented at many judicial branch conferences and meetings over the summer. It is always our pleasure to serve our judicial branch partners. And by way of just one example, pictured here are senior staffers Ben Luke and Deputy Director Tracy Mason at the Council of Probate Court Judges Leadership Retreat. The AOC also sent staff to host informal tables at the annual Judicial Staff Attorneys Conference. Our child support team fielded questions on the recent rollout of the modernized child support calculator, as well as changes to the child support guidelines statute that become effective January 1st, 2026. Our case management system program manager, Sean Golan, pictured here, was on site to share information. The Judicial Council Committee on Access to Justice, in partnership with the Georgia Bar Foundation, recently convened a forum on self-represented litigants to gather best practices and set priorities. The Judicial Council Committee on Court Interpreters held an inspiring orientation for 40 court interpreters in May, which the AOC staffed. A very, very special welcome to our new State Bar President, Chris Twyman, who will serve the coming year as a member of the Judicial Council. President Twyman was sworn in by the Chief Justice at the State Bar annual meeting in June. And as usual, there was lots of good news about the bench and bar at the State Bar annual meeting. Former Chief Justice Boggs was honored by the State Bar of Georgia with its 2025 Distinguished Service Award, one of the bar's highest tributes. Former Chief Justice Thompson was honored by the bar's Bench and Bar Committee with his 2025 Professionalism Award for his paramount reputation for professionalism. Now, Justice Ellington received not one, but 2 awards at the State Bar Conference, including the 2025 Spirit of Justice Award from the bar's judicial section. Superior Court Judge Rhonda Kruziger presented Cobb County State Court Judge Jane Manning, who here on the left, with the 2025 Tradition of Excellence Award from the bar's General Practice and Trial section. Congratulations to Judge Sonia Brown, Judge Carl Bowers, Judge Ashley Palmer, who are pictured here left to right, as well as Judge Eric Dunaway and Judge Patsy Porter for receiving Distinguished Judicial Service Awards from the bar's Young Lawyer Division. Congratulations as well to the Douglas County Juvenile Court Judge Talia Johnson Nurse, who was honored with the Judge Willie Lovett Award for advancing the field of juvenile law. Jumping to other meetings around the state, Justice Charlie Bethel presented Attorney Ashley Stinson and DFAC's case manager Quandula Wright with the 2025 Hines Awards for outstanding advocacy for children in dependency proceedings. Senior Judge Bryant Culpepper, who many of you may know, was recently recognized at the Council of Juvenile Court Judges Conference for his outstanding contributions to juvenile justice reform. Now, May was Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and the AOC featured this collage on social media to honor our Asian American judges. Bruce, you do such a great job. May was also Military Appreciation Month, which gave us the opportunity to honor some of our many Georgia judges who have served the nation's military. Now, among those were two of our very own Judicial Council members. Pictured here are Chief Judge Ural Glanville, looking smart, and Chief Judge Jason Deal. The AOC continues its work with you to foster community engagement, especially with Georgia students. In May, Municipal Court Judge David Will and Magistrate Court Judge Bobby Wolf participated in the Fulton County's Hometown Heroes event. Other local outreach efforts include probate and Municipal Court Judge John Rasnack, who hosted 4 homeschool teams for a thrilling mock trial at the Meriwether County Courthouse. The AOC meets regularly, and we feature a Georgia judge as our guest speaker. My thanks to Superior Court Judge James Prine, who spoke at our all-staff meeting in April, and Chief Magistrate Court Judge Cassandra Kirk, who spoke in May. Hearing firsthand from judges helps us appreciate the work you do even more. Thanks to Paulding County Superior Court Judge Dean Bucci for recently welcoming members of our child support team to his courtroom as part of our AOC Court Observation Program. Other AOC news includes the retirement of longtime AOC staffer Michelle Barkley and promotion to Division Director of Attorney Noel Lajou Alvarez as Division Director. Congratulations. Noel, you're doing a super great job, and we appreciate your enthusiasm and experience. Now, one of the fun things I get to do as director is hand out judicial branch baby bibs to new parents and grandparents. At our last Judicial Council meeting, I complained that I had no baby bibs photos to share with you, none, zip. Well, thanks for getting busy and responding with such gusto, because I now have 9, and I had to tell the chief, I said, it's 9, it's gonna take a minute. So, congratulations. First up is the lovely granddaughter of Municipal Court Judge Bowles and her husband, Superior Court Judge Philip Smith. Here we have Chief Judge Niedrich's granddaughter, Lila, right? Lila, she is a cutie. This is State Court Judge Herbie Benson's granddaughter, Charlie. He's not proud, I tell you. He's so happy. This adorable shot is of Carson, the grandson of Executive Director of the Georgia Office of Dispute Resolution, Tracy Johnson. And Tracy, I know you've got pictures to show. Yeah, you got lots. I know, lots. You're ready. Here we have Probate Court Judge Just Smith's son, not grandson, son. He is going to be super busy. Now, Probate Court Judge Sarah Harris has 2 grandbabies, a boy and a girl, and so she is over the moon. On the left is her granddaughter, Barry, and pictured with his proud grandmother is her grandson, John. JQC Deputy Director Ashton Murphy shared this cute photo of her new son, Ryan. And puppies also warrant baby bibs. Yes, that's true. This is Mr. Moose, the wired-haired pointer griffin of Taylor Jones. That is a spectacular dog. And I thought I'd end with my very own grandnephew, Cecil Hendricks. The AOC is a service agency to Georgia's judges and a statewide resource. We exist to serve you the members of the Judicial Council and the judiciary. As always, please call on us anytime that we can serve you. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Clanton. It's hard to follow the baby bibs, but, and what comes next on the agenda is the reports from courts, councils, and the state bar. I see each of the class of courts have submitted a written report. If anyone has anything to add verbally to those, this is where you raise your hand. Otherwise, I am not going to go through the practice of calling on everyone only to hear them say, I stand on my written report. Does any of the class of court have anything to add beyond the written report? Going once, going twice. Let me recognize the President of the State Bar of Georgia, Chris Twyman, to provide his report.
Thank you, Chief Justice Peterson, members of the Judicial Council. It is a privilege to be with you today in this role, and I appreciate the welcome. Certainly, I want to start by acknowledging our Executive Director, Damon Elmore, and President-elect Bill Gentry, who are with us today as guests. Since my installation in June as the 63rd State Bar President, the Bar has been focused on improving governance through our committee work, continuing to study the use of artificial intelligence, as the Chief mentioned earlier, and we will be providing an AI toolkit for lawyers, which will be accessed through the State Bar website so that we can appropriately use artificial intelligence. I think we see articles every week now about hallucinated cases and those in your court filings. So we are cognizant of that, and we want to help Georgia lawyers. And we continue to develop programs, importantly, to advance the rule of law. I'll mention that last week, the Supreme Court and the State Bar Executive Committee held a retreat at Macklemore Resort in Cloudland, where we discussed many issues, including upcoming changes on rules to lawyer competency, as well as legal regulatory reform. And Chief, it was a pleasure having the court with us at Macklemore. We appreciate that partnership and support of the court, and I want to particularly thank our liaisons, Presiding Justice Warren, Justice Bethel, for your work in support of the bar. And finally, I'll mention that the Fall Board of Governors meeting will also be held at Macklemore October 10th through the 12th, and for more information on that meeting, including registration, you can find that on the State Bar website. That is my report.
Thank you, President Twyman, and let me just echo the words you said about the retreat and the importance of the relationship between the court and the bar. We so value our relationship with the bar. We have an immense amount of respect and confidence in your leadership, in Damon's leadership, in the leadership of all of the officers and the executive committee. And the lawyers of Georgia are really well served by their bar, and we look forward to working with y'all on a lot of important issues going forward. So thank you.
Thank you.
With that, we come to reports from other judicial branch agencies. If you have something, please come up to the microphone. Or no, Robbie will come to you with a mic. And we'll begin with the Council of Accountability Court Judges, Taylor Jones.
Thank you and good morning. We will primarily stand on our written report, but just add that we are looking forward to hosting our annual conference here in a couple weeks in Athens, where we will welcome 1,500 members approximately of the Accountability Court community to celebrate our 10-year anniversary. That'll conclude my report.
That's
Thank
wonderful.
you.
Thank you. Georgia Commission on Dispute Resolution, Chief Judge Cindy Morris.
We'll stand on our written report, and we would like to thank the Judicial Council for your support in our funding request. I would also like to introduce Judge Carrie Markham, our chair-elect. She will be taking over at the first of the year. She's been a valuable commission member, and is going to be an outstanding chair.
Welcome, Judge Markham. Chief Justice's Commission on Professionalism, Ms. Greer. Okay, thank you. Georgia Council of Court Administrators, Timothy Ezel.
We'll stand on our written report, but we are looking forward to our upcoming fall conference in Savannah, where we'll have over 170 court administrators across the state can join us, and looking forward to our new incoming president. This will be my last meeting.
Well, we will miss you, but thank you for your leadership. Institute of Continuing Judicial Education, Lynn Nelson. I don't see her. All right. Judicial Qualifications Commission, I think we will run from that as well. And then Georgia Association of Juvenile Court Clerks, Samantha Cannon or Alicia Jacobs? No? Okay, all right. All right, well, that takes us through the reports and brings us to old business. Does anyone have any old business? Does anyone have any new business?
Next meeting.
The next meeting is the general session Friday, December 12th at 10 a.m., which will be Zoom only. That's when we will be formally adopting the few pieces of our legislative package for the session. After we adjourn, members, please gather for a group photograph. I think we're going to try to do the terrace.
Yes.
Yes,
Bruce?
Okay. As long as it doesn't start raining between now and then. And then lunch is available in the hall. Seating is available on the terrace, in the cafe next door, and also in here. So help yourself. And I just want to thank each of you for all you do for the administration of justice in this state. Most of us become judges not because we want to do a bunch of administrative work, but because we want to decide cases and we want to help bring justice to our communities. But this work is absolutely essential to helping those cases be decided quickly and efficiently and well. And so I just thank each of you for all of this extra stuff that you are doing for the people of Georgia. And with that, we'll stand adjourned until our next meeting.
And designees, if you're a designee today, you are included in the picture.